Hi, I'm Kerry.
And I'm Dee Dee.
And this is the Kerry and Dee Dee Show.
What's up, people?
So, if your kid is in Walmart, or any mart, whatever, and he or she is screaming within 2 inches of their life, is it okay for someone of age to walk up to them and spank them? Or do you find that to be a problem and you're going to sue?
First off, not spank, slap. If a stranger just walks up and slap your child in the face because your child is crying, is that okay? And would you just stand there and let a total stranger slap your child in the face because your child is crying and tell you, if you don't shut her up, I will? Anyhow, this lady was in Walmart with her child, a 2-year-old little girl. The baby was crying. The lady was shopping. You know, everybody with kids, hey, you know, your kids might cry for something or whatever. So she in the store getting whatever she's getting, and they on the aisle. And this old man walks up to her and tells her, "If you don't shut her up, I will." That's the quote. If you don't shut her up, I will. So they go on to another aisle. He ends up on that same aisle, goes and pick this little girl up and slap this little girl across a 2-year-old now, across her face 4 or 5 times, and told her, "I told you I'd shut her up." Now, this woman called the police, and there were people in the store that saw him. She was shaken up because he walked up to her baby and slapped her baby 5 times because the baby was crying. I'm like, baby, only her. Oh. Because ain't no fucking way. I'm sorry. Ain't no way.
I understand that she went in procedure, but some people would not have been able to go with procedure. Some people would just got on him and beat his ass.
Just be for real.
But see, then that would have been, they would have said, well, he didn't hit the child. She started hitting him.
But this is
a
woman.
It would have went crazy.
This is a man. I don't care how old he is. He's a man, and she's a woman, and that's her child. He didn't have a right to walk up to her child. Look, you in the store. If her child is crying, you get what you got to get, and you gone. It's not like it's at your house. This is a public place, and, you know, kids are going to cry. It's not your responsibility to go up and slap somebody else's child. So he's going to jail. Apparently, he's going to jail. You know, he's got to go to court or whatever. Yeah, but he apologized. Once they was arresting him, he apologized. But just think of anybody with children. Just think of your 2-year-old, and an old grown man comes up and slaps your 2-year-old daughter in the face 5 times. What? And he walked out of there. Baby. He would have been slapped and hit and beat a few times with a lot of shit from off the shelves and everything else. And he would have been on the floor when they came to get him. You wasn't going to just walk up and slap my child. I'm just saying. That's just for real. Anybody, you know, with common sense ain't gonna let somebody, a stranger, come up and slap. They said he grabbed the child. He grabbed the 2-year-old and just started slapping her. They said her face was red and the child was shaking up because this is a stranger. She don't know who this is slapping her in her face. That's not a spanking. That's an assault. You slapped the child in the face. You didn't spank her. You slapped her and grabbed her and slapped her. A stranger. All kind of stuff be happening. But I just was shocked by that. I was shocked by that.
That someone would do that. Now, I remember when I was younger, when I was 7, which was a long time ago. And
a very long time ago.
Oh, stir shit. And in my neighborhood, we had Mr. Howard, Mr. McCurry, and all of them, and we would be doing something crazy, me, Kevin.
People in your neighborhood.
And all the kids. And,
that you knew.
And these people had the express right by my parents to whip my ass.
Right.
So, like, I was doing something crazy one time, and Mr. Howard saw me and, like, get your ass down, and I wouldn't listen to him, and he came over and grabbed me, whipped my butt, got my ass down, and then dragged me down to my daddy and said his ass was over here on that pile of nails and shit, debris from the house that we building, and I told him to get his ass down. He didn't get his ass down. I'll whoop his ass. I'll bring him to you. Now, me and you got something, then I understand. But my dad was like, you good. You whooped his ass. My dad proceeded to whoop my ass. And then my mom proceeded to whip my ass after that for disrespecting Mr. Howard. Now that back then was like that. I don't know,
but this is different,
now because corporal punishment is not a big thing now, and you know, people just don't touch other people's kids.
No,
we're not closing their communities anymore.
You can barely spank your own kids.
Yeah,
there's a line between spanking and abuse. You know.
Mm-hmm. I sure wish that line existed when I was little, because I would have called the motherfucking police a lot of times.
But anyway,
I had knots on me from people whooping my ass.
Now that's considered abuse.
Yes, I would have called the motherfucking police.
It's considered abuse today, and your parents could have went to jail for that kind of shit.
I wish it would have just kicked in right around 89.
There's a line between spanking and abusing your kid. I mean, well, you know, if your child don't, because there was this story of this lady. It's been a while back where she killed her child for not cleaning his room. Now that is just ridiculous. Okay. I believe in spanking, or you know, whooping, like we would call it whooping your kids. But there is, I mean, if you take it to the point,
we believe in correction.
Well, I think you know, back in the day, they didn't call it spanking.
Yeah,
it was just
an ass whooping.
You get an ass whooping when you do something wrong. But nowadays, you can't call it an ass whooping because now it could be against the law. You know, but you know, I got ass whippings growing up, and I think some of them were harsh, but I think it worked.
I know sometimes I got my ass whooped for shit that I didn't do, and it's like, you didn't even listen to me. And I wish I could have called the police then, because you didn't listen to me and know that I didn't have nothing to do with this. You just whipped my ass just because I am a good kid. I'm not doing this shit, and you done whipped my ass.
But see, then that's when I think the parents have to. It has to be a learning lesson. You don't just beat your kids, you know. You don't just beat them, but to take it so far as to act. And I don't know if this lady, if she meant to kill him or she accidentally killed him. So I think that's the issue with it now. People take it too far, and then when you taking it too far, when it's abuse, you wind up killing your child. Was it worth it?
You gotta realize that when you're hitting somebody, their blood pressure is
going up. You're hitting
them,
yes,
and
you don't know what
you're doing to a child. You can't just whoop a child. I remember being whipped and out of breath and almost passing out myself.
Yeah, I remember.
And that wasn't
just
a good
kind of
thing.
Being out of breath, but
they never. You don't understand what you're doing
to
a person, and you can't do that. I mean, you can fight people and kill them.
You know, so you can.
Just think about it. You're in a fight with a kid that can't fight you back.
Right. Yeah. That's the part that, you know. But I believe in correcting a child. I think if you don't give any correction, then the kids will grow up and they won't understand the difference between what's right and wrong. But then when they get in society and they fuck up and do something wrong, then the laws of this land are gonna show them what's right and what's wrong, what you shouldn't be doing. By when they do the wrong thing, they lock them up and they beat you in jail. I mean, the same thing that you can't do to your child when you're young, it ends up happening to them as they're older.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I just say preparing for that. But that's a whole nother situation. This situation when a fucking stranger comes up and just hits your child. Nah, that ain't happening.
That dog ain't gonna hunt.
That ain't happening.
That dog ain't gonna hunt.
You're not gonna just hit my child. But you're not gonna hit my child. Just walk off for no apparent reason.
You're not gonna just be hit
seriously,
my child.
because my child is crying. Yeah, you don't. I mean, it's not. There are plenty of places, you know, we've gone and kids be all over the place. They be acting up, crying, and just acting a damn fool, and the parents just be sitting there like, no, Jimmy, get down. No. They don't do a thing, but does that give me a right to go over there and hit that kid? No, that's not my right to do that. I mean, I hear kids just scream and hitting their parents back. I want this, and screaming. But should I go hit that child? No. That's not my. So that's just
I've
crazy.
seen kids hit their parents.
Oh yeah, and call them out their name, and you're stupid, and all this. Yes, like I hate you, and all this kind of stuff because you can't get that candy. Baby.
And the bigger ones, where they be hitting and cussing and spitting on their parents.
Baby.
But anyway, speaking of, you know, parents and children. Actually, no, let's move on. Chaz Bono. Chassis. It's Chaz now, right?
Chaz Bono is
on Dancing with the Stars this season.
This is season 13 of Dancing with the Stars. He's one of the cast members.
And as we were looking, my wife, she was looking and checking out, you know, news stuff that's newsworthy for us to put up and maybe talk about. she came across, there are a lot of people who don't want Chaz Bono on the show.
No, it was I think a few women's groups. You know, they feel like I guess that's a bad representation. They don't want to have to. Some of the quotes were that they don't want to have to explain to their kids about him being on the show. I guess I'm a little confused because I'm wondering like what they feel like he shouldn't be on Dancing with the Stars because their kids watch the show. And they feel like they're not ready or prepared to explain to their kids about, Chaz Bono being a transgender person and going all through that, saying, oh, he's transitioned from a woman to a man. They're not ready to explain that to their kids, so they feel like he shouldn't be on the show.
I'm like, we can't just make everything political.
No.
Sometimes, I don't think Chaz Bono is going to come on there saying, and transgenders everywhere can do this. I think Chaz Bono is literally just trying to go on with the life that Chaz Bono has chosen for Chaz Bono, and not preach anything to anybody. I've never seen Chaz Bono preach the gospel of transgender and how everybody should be it or anything like that. I have not seen that of Chaz Bono. I don't watch very often, but the first time I saw Chaz Bono, it was Chaz Bono, Chastity Bono, and Chastity Bono was a lesbian. I think just recently Chastity Bono decided to be Chaz Bono and be transgender. That's literally Chaz Bono's business. And Dancing with the Stars chose to put Chaz Bono on the show, so they know what they're doing.
And that's causing
their show.
Some controversy as well because people are saying that they chose to put him on the show to drum up the attention, for the show, which it is drumming up attention. But I don't really understand why. Like, if you're not comfortable with, transgenders, gay people, or whatever, the best thing you can do is educate your kids on what it is. It doesn't mean that it's going to influence them. I don't think that what it means it's going to influence them to become gay or change their sex.
I see that the women who possibly are putting these things up outside of just blatant hatred may also be saying, I'm not ready to talk with my children about
That's what
sex, sexual orientation, or, cross-sexual orientation. They just don't want, they're not ready for that, and they don't think that I should let something make that decision for. It's like somebody had a show about, had a post about coming out. It's like somebody else shouldn't make that decision for me, and think that's what the parents are saying. This shouldn't make that decision for me that I got to now sit down with my kid, who I don't think is ready to hear it or talk about these things, and start putting that in their head.
But then it's like, okay, how do you know your kids know? Half the kids might not even know who Chaz Bono is.
Half the kids may not even recognize that Chaz Bono used to be
exactly. So in order for them to really know who Chaz Bono is and what, that he was a woman and now he's a man, you would have to tell them that, pretty much. I mean, kids are smarter these days. Some kids, like, my kids can recognize the difference. And I'm not, no shade or nothing like that, but my kids, especially, they can recognize if it's a man transitioning to a woman. My kids can recognize it.
Yeah, they pick it up.
They really can. So kids nowadays are really, really smart. And they see, but I mean, if this man is on Dancing with the Stars and he's dancing, they probably won't know he's a man unless somebody, that he was a woman unless somebody told them.
Right. So
if you're not ready to talk to your kids about these issues, I really don't think that would make a big difference. Really, I don't think they looking at I don't think it should make a difference. And really, in today's society, I'm not the one to say when you should or shouldn't talk to your kids about sex and gender and all of that. That's up to you. I'm not the guide for that. But I'm saying with all these things around us, to me, it makes sense to make your kids just aware of what's going on anyway, because they got to grow up in society. And I think the sooner they understand, what's going on around them, they can be better educated with it as they get older.
Right.
When we were young, our parents didn't tell us shit. They didn't tell you shit. You just had to you found out from, well, in my case, you found out things through other kids, from school, you know, from television. Your parents were afraid to tell you about the birds and bees. Nowadays, you can't be afraid to talk to your kids. You have to talk to your children. Like I said, it's up to you to figure out when you want to, but you need to, because it's just everywhere. And now kids are coming out younger and younger. You know, things have changed. So to me, knowledge is power. If you don't know something, you can be lost. But if you know it, you can better, you know, prepare yourself for what's in life. Yeah.
We are in a new century. We are living with the newer generation, and everything is way different.
And knowledge is just around us. Now you have the internet. You have there's it's not just just a book. You can read about it. It's in front of you every day. In the daily news, you see something. So even if they don't find out from one source, they're going to find it out from somewhere else. You know, nowadays it's not, your parents can be waiting. Nowadays, parents waiting to talk to their kids about sex. The kids already know what it pretty much is about. Cause
that was interesting. To see that 2020 thing where the kids were on the back of the bus, they're committing oral sex and, and the parents, anal sex, and those things don't count as long as it's not vaginal. It's just everything is moving fast.
And it's like,
and I think we're not moving as parents. We're not moving fast enough
I understand
to ward things off as soon as you can.
Or explain it to them, because
that's what I'm saying. Explain things to them, because
they're getting it before. By the time you're ready, they already got it, and then they may have gotten it in a way that was, that was not really. They may have gotten it in an ignorant sense. Yeah. Because a lot of times, kids hear stuff and you learn it that way, but it's not always. They may may not learn the proper terms or whatever. So to me, I feel it's better for you, if you want them to know it the right way, teach them and let them know what's going on. It doesn't mean that they're going to fall into it, because I do think that knowledge is power. It doesn't mean that you're going to go and just want to do that, but at least you can understand what it is. Because curiosity, I think, is what get a lot of kids into trouble. When you're curious about something and you don't fully know what it is, you tend to go that way to find out. But if you already know and pretty much have a general idea of what that's about, you already know.
Right.
And it still will be their choice to choose if they want to go that route or not. But I think as parents, I understand it, because I'm a parent, and it's like, who wants to, talk to their kids about sex and transgender and gay? Do you really? Are you? I don't think none of us. Yeah, but I don't see. It's different. I don't know what it is, but we're not afraid to talk to them about it, because it's around us. Yeah. Why not? I think you make it worse for them when you don't tell them nothing and they find out from other people. Then they get the ignorant sense of it. They don't.
You get technical ignorance as opposed to
getting it the
intelligent,
right.
Technical
and that way,
terms and everything.
And a lot of that has to do with why a lot of people are ignorant to a lot of the facts, because they don't get it the right way. They just hear, oh, that's a fag, oh, that's this, that's that, and then
it's like that person has deeper situations inside them, and you gotta know a person better than that just to look over and say that's this or that's that. It's like looking at somebody who has a handicap or club foot and laughing at it.
And laughing, yes.
That person doesn't want that.
And we're guilty of that from when we were growing up, because our parents didn't, really teach us. They really didn't. They didn't say, oh, look, that person can't help that. Your first instinct is just to bust out and laugh as if they can control that. And that's not funny. And as you get older, you realize, that's not funny. That is a disability. They can't help that, so yeah.
So that's what we have for that. You guys have a good day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
On the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.